watched as he changed out of his clothes and into the ragged old clothes that he had worn before.
Where have you been, son? Just out?
I was completely shocked at what I had just heard. So that man is his father. He's not a bodyguard. I couldn't stop thinking about the boy and his beautiful eyes. I didn't care that he was homeless. I felt sure that they were good people. When the bell went at the end of school the following day, I rushed straight out of the school gates and headed towards where the boy and his family had been the day before. My stomach was full of butterflies. Yes, they're here! I crossed over and handed them another $20 bill.
No, we can't take it. It's too much.
Don't be silly. Anyway, it's not for me. It's from my mom, and she asked me to give it to you. The boy took the money from me and put it into his pocket. He looked even more embarrassed than he had done the day before, so I made an excuse that I had to be home for dinner and then left them to it. When I got home, I told my mom that I had met up with the family again. I think I'm going to sort out some stuff to give to them. Good idea, Becky. But when I handed the boy a bag of things, he looked sad.
I'm sorry. I can't accept this.
Please take it. It would make me so happy if you did.
Okay then, I will. Thank you.
He looked up and smiled at me. I felt like I was on cloud 9. My heart started beating 10 to the dozen and my stomach flipped over. That's when it hit me like a ton of bricks. Oh my god, I think I'm in love with this boy. I had never felt like that about anyone ever before. I wanted to see more and more of him. I took a deep breath and pulled on all of my inner strength. Would you like to go out with me? I waited for what seemed like an eternity for him to answer. But when I heard what he said, my heart nearly broke in two.
Sorry, no. I'm not interested.
I really wanted the ground to open up and swallow me. I mumbled something about having errands to run and ran off home. Ran up to my room and threw myself onto my bed. I buried my head into the pillow and started sobbing and sobbing. I couldn't believe that he didn't want to see me. Obviously misread the signs badly. By Wednesday evening, I was starting to feel a bit better. After dinner, I went back up to my room. I switched on my laptop and was about to start some work when I heard a knocking at my window. What's that? I went over to the window and opened it. You will not believe who was standing in my garden. Toby, the homeless boy. What do you want?
I just want to explain to you.
Explain what?
Why I can't date you. It's not that I don't like you. It's just that I don't want you dating someone who's homeless. You deserve better than that.
But I don't care. I want you. He just sighed, shook his head, and left. The next day after school, I decided I would go and find Toby and his family. But when I got to their usual place, they were nowhere to be seen. I looked up and down the street, but I couldn't see them anywhere. I felt really disappointed, but there was no use hanging around. They had obviously found a new place to stand. I was just about to walk off when I felt someone tap me on my shoulder. I turned around and saw some rich boy standing behind me. I could tell from the clothes he was wearing and his expensive-looking sunglasses that he came from a very wealthy family. Sorry, do I know you? He reached up and took off his sunglasses. Toby! I would recognize those beautiful eyes anywhere. What's going on? I don't understand.
I'm sorry I didn't tell you the truth before, Becky. I'm not really homeless. I actually come from a very rich family, but I had to disguise myself as homeless as there are some mean people who are looking for me, so I had to hide.
But I met your dad. I mean, he's obviously a really nice guy, but he definitely doesn't look wealthy.
That wasn't my dad. That's my bodyguard. He's also pretending to be homeless so he could keep an eye on me.
But why did you lie to me?
I'm really sorry. I just had to get to know you better before I could let you in on my secret. Can you forgive me?
I hesitated for a bit. If there is one thing I hate, it's lying. But he definitely had a good reason, so I decided to forgive him. Okay, I forgive you. So does this mean you will go out with me then? He smiled at me, his beautiful eyes shining brightly.
Sure.
We started dating and it was wonderful. He was everything I had ever dreamed of. But there was just one thing that wasn't quite right. He never ever invited me to his home. Why can't we ever hang out at your house? Why do you always come to my house?
It's just too dangerous for you. I can't risk you getting hurt. If any of these mean people see you, they might try to do something to you to get back at me.
I accepted what he said, even though I still had some niggling doubts in my mind. Okay, I understand that you want to protect me, and I really appreciate it. But can you answer something else for me, please?
What?
How come you wear the exact same clothes all of the time? You never wear anything different.
I can't. I don't have time to be able to go home to change my clothes.
Oh, right. I guess that does make sense. But even though I said that, I honestly didn't believe it. I started to get really suspicious about him. He always acted really shady when I asked him anything about his life. he would immediately change the subject and start talking about something random. I decided that I would follow him home when he left my house that night. See you tomorrow then.
Sure, same time, same place.
Bye.
Bye.
I waited until he had got about 10 meters down the street. Then I crept out of the house and started following him. I made sure to keep my distance so that he wouldn't see me. I was surprised to see that he was heading towards the place where I had first met him. I wonder why he's going there. He stopped and I watched as he changed out of his clothes and into the ragged old clothes that he had worn before. Then I noticed his bodyguard walking over to him.
Where have you been, son? Just out. Come on, we better get to sleep. We need to be up early in the morning to get to the food drive. Okay, Dad.
I was completely shocked at what I had just heard. So that man is his father. He's not a bodyguard. And if they're so rich, why would they be going to a food drive? I'm beginning to think that he actually is homeless. I spent all of the next day going over and over in my head the scene I had witnessed the night before. When Toby arrived at my house, I was ready for him. I've got something to ask you, and I want to know the truth. No more lies, okay?
What is it?
I saw you last night. I followed you when you left here. I heard you talking. That man is your father, isn't he? He sighed.
Yes, it was all a lie. But I only did it because I'm in love with you. I didn't want you dating a homeless boy.
I hesitated for a second. You're in love with me? He reached out and took hold of my hands.
I have been in love with you since the moment I laid eyes on you.
I could feel the heat in my cheeks as I blushed bright red. Promise me you will never lie to me again.
I swear.
Now I want you to do something for me.
What?
I want you to go and change into your real clothes, and I want you to come back here with your dad. I want my parents to meet the real you and your family.
But won't they hate me?
No, they won't. He looked unsure, but he agreed to do as I had asked. About 30 minutes later, there was a knock at the door. When I opened it, Toby and his dad were standing there. Hello, come in. I led them through to the kitchen where my parents were sitting having a cup of tea. Mom, Dad, I want you to meet Toby's dad. I could see the look of surprise on my parents' faces, but they quickly hid it.
Sit down, sit down. Let me get you a cup of tea.
Toby looked at me and I smiled at him.
Do you take sugar?
Toby's dad told my parents all about how he had lost his job, and that's why they had ended up on the streets. You could see that he was an honest, hard-working man that had just had a run of bad luck.
I might be able to help you out. We're looking for a handyman come gardener. I'm so busy at work that I never have time to get anything done around here. Would you be interested in the job? Yes. Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. I thought nobody would ever give me a chance again. Well, that's settled then. You can start on Monday.
Once Toby's dad started working, there was no need for Toby to be out begging.
I'm going back to school, Becky. Actually, I'm starting at your school.
When the other girls at school found out that Toby was my boyfriend, they were all really jealous.
I can't believe you're dating Toby. He is literally the kindest, funniest, and most handsome boy in the school. How did you get him?
I winked. I snagged him off the streets. They all started laughing, but little did they know that I wasn't kidding.